My parents insisted that I give my welcome party dress to my sister, who has a habit of ruining my belongings.
Am I wrong for finally speaking up?
I'm a 22-year-old woman in desperate need of advice regarding a family issue, particularly with my sister, Jessica, who is 24. I've been a long-time observer of similar situations, but recent events have pushed me to share my story. Please bear with me, it might take a while to explain. I'm trembling as I write this, partly out of anger and partly out of fear of the consequences if my family discovers I'm seeking help. I recently graduated from college and landed my dream job at a leading technology firm.
Everything seemed to be going smoothly.
I worked diligently throughout college, maintaining a 3.9 GPA while on a partial scholarship, and I secured this position after going through several rounds of competitive interviews. The company is well regarded for its positive work culture and numerous opportunities for advancement. After years of tiptoeing around my family dynamics, I was genuinely excited to start my professional journey. The welcome reception for new employees is scheduled for tomorrow evening. It's a formal event where newcomers can meet upper management and team leaders. Several important figures will be present, and it's recognized as a crucial networking opportunity that could influence my career trajectory within the company. I worked part-time for months, saving enough to purchase an appropriate outfit. It's not flashy but rather professional and stylish, costing me $400, which represents countless hours of tutoring and weekend shifts at a local cafe. My parents, both 45, didn't contribute anything, which wasn't surprising given their history of favoring my sister. Jessica has always been the favored child. Currently, she is unemployed after failing to complete college twice. She spends most of her time partying and posting on social media while our parents cover her expenses without question. They've spent thousands on her shopping sprees, expensive gadgets, and even a car, which she crashed within 3 months. Meanwhile, I've had to juggle part-time jobs since high school just to cover basic necessities like school supplies and clothing. The disparity in treatment began early. When I was 5, my aunt gifted me a small art set for Christmas. Jessica threw a fit, and my parents took it away, giving it to her instead, despite her having received other expensive gifts. They told me I needed to learn to share and that Jessica was more sensitive. This set the tone for our entire upbringing. As we grew older, the situation only worsened. Jessica often took my belongings without asking: clothes, books, electronics, nothing was off limits. If I protested, my parents would scold me for being selfish and insensitive to her feelings. They would say things like, "Jessica is sensitive and needs extra support, you're stronger, so you should compromise." When I got my first smartphone at 16, which I had paid for with my tutoring earnings, Jessica demanded it because hers was outdated, even though it was only 6 months old. My parents made me swap phones with her. There were countless incidents like this. Jessica would physically lash out if she didn't get her way. She once pushed me down the stairs when I refused to let her use my laptop for a social media broadcast. I sprained my ankle, but instead of taking me to the hospital, my parents told me to stay in my room and not provoke Jessica further. Another time, during a family gathering, my mom slapped me because I was receiving more compliments for my academic achievements. They pulled me aside and chastised me for showing off and making Jessica feel bad. The emotional abuse was far worse than the physical. Jessica frequently told me I was unwanted and that our parents had me just to give her a sibling. She mocked my appearance, spread rumors about me at school, and even sabotaged my friendships. When I was 15, I had my first boyfriend, and Jessica claimed I was cheating on him. I wasn't, but she showed him altered screenshots of fake conversations, leading to our breakup. When I confronted her, she just laughed. My parents said I should never have started dating since it made Jessica feel lonely. Through all of this, I learned to keep my head down and focus on my studies. My dream of financial independence kept me going during the toughest times. I stopped expecting support or validation from my family and planned to move out as soon as I started earning money, hoping to escape this toxic environment. I immersed myself in schoolwork and extracurricular activities, doing everything I could to avoid being home. During college, I thought things would improve since I was living in the dorms, but Jessica would often show up unannounced, demanding money or clothes, throwing tantrums if I refused. My parents would call me, scolding me for neglecting my sister, even though she was supposed to be the older sibling. They even tried to pressure me into dropping out after Jessica failed her classes for the second time, claiming it was unfair for me to continue any actual interviews lined up. She only wanted my dress because it was mine. Later, I overheard her on the phone with a friend, joking about how she was going to deal with her sister's attitude issues. What makes this situation different from previous ones is that my grandmother, who is 71, expects pictures from the welcome celebration. She has always been more sensible than my parents, but since she lives in another state, she isn't as familiar with our family dynamics. She specifically asked me to send her photos of my outfit, expressing her pride in my achievement of landing such a great job right out of college. She even mentioned framing the picture for her living room. Right now, I'm locked in my room, trying to figure out what to do. My hands are shaking as I type this. My sister is outside, throwing a fit, yelling that I'm ruining her life and that she'll make me regret being born. I can hear her banging on my door and threatening to break it down. My parents are texting me, telling me to stop being selfish and to think about family harmony. They're threatening to ground me, yes, at 22, and confiscate my phone if I don't comply. Should I just give in again to keep the peace? I know that if I don't comply, they might physically force me to hand over the dress, or Jessica might destroy it out of spite, as she has done with my belongings in the past. But I'm so tired of being the family scapegoat. This welcome celebration means everything to me. It's my first step toward independence, a chance to start building a life free from their toxic influence. I can't help but worry that telling my grandmother the truth about what's happening will make a difference. She's always been kind to me, but my parents have instilled in me the belief that reaching out to relatives would bring shame to the family and that no one would believe me anyway. They've spent years convincing me that their treatment is normal and that I'm to blame for not being more accommodating. I feel lost and unsure of what to do. Is it irrational for me to want to keep my own dress, which I bought with my own money? How do I navigate this situation without causing more conflict while also not giving up something that is incredibly important to me? Just thinking about confronting them makes me feel like I'm having a panic attack. The welcome celebration is tomorrow evening, so I need to make a decision quickly. I've worked so hard to get here, and it's disheartening that my achievement is being overshadowed by my sister's demands and my parents' enabling behavior. The thought of showing up in something inappropriate and potentially damaging my professional reputation is concerning, but so is the possibility of another violent encounter with Jessica. Thank you for reading this far. I've never shared the full extent of what goes on in my family, so writing it all down feels both terrifying and liberating. I keep second-guessing myself, wondering if I'm overreacting or if I'm crazy for thinking this isn't normal. Any advice or support would be greatly appreciated. Update 1. First and foremost, I want to thank everyone who left supportive comments on my initial post. A lot has happened in the past 24 hours, and everything has changed. Yesterday, after I posted, my grandmother called to ask about the welcome celebration and the pictures. When I started making excuses, she sensed something was off. She insisted on taking me out for lunch today, claiming she needed help with grocery shopping. My parents couldn't refuse her without raising suspicions. At a quiet cafe away from home, my grandmother held my hands and said, "Now tell me everything." Her gentle tone broke through all my defenses. For the first time, I revealed the entire truth about our family dynamics. I told her how Jessica had sabotaged my school projects, shredded my college prep books, and ruined my prom dress. I shared years of secrets I had kept hidden out of fear and shame. My grandmother listened without interrupting, but I could see her hands trembling with anger as I finished. She confessed that she and other relatives had suspected something was wrong for years but couldn't prove it because my parents always presented a perfect family image at gatherings. While we were at the cafe, my mother began calling family members, including my aunts, uncles, and family friends. As she made these calls, my phone started buzzing nonstop with texts from my family. My mother sent frantic messages, asking how I could lie about our family after everything they've done for me. "You're making your sister cry again," she wrote. Jessica's messages started with guilt trips, saying, "I can't believe you would do this to me, you know how sensitive I am." They quickly escalated to threats, "You better tell Grandma you lied, or I'll make you regret it. Remember your prom dress? This will be worse." My dad joined in, saying, "Your mother evidence of her harassment." It's surreal to see how quickly things have unraveled. She even attempted to reach out to my new coworkers, trying to convince them that I am unstable. Thankfully, my manager was already aware of the situation through my uncle, who works in human resources, and had security escort her out of the building. My grandmother's lawyer has been instrumental in helping me file for a restraining order against Jessica. The evidence was overwhelming: years of documented incidents, witness accounts from family and friends, and now police photos of my injuries. I'm currently staying at my grandmother's house, and the difference from my previous life is astonishing. No one here tells me to stop provoking my sister or insists that I give up my belongings to keep the peace. I can leave my laptop on my desk without worrying about it disappearing. The support from my extended family has been incredible. Cousins I haven't spoken to in years have reached out to share their observations about Jessica's behavior at family gatherings. A therapist, who is a friend of my aunt, has helped me understand that what I experienced was continuous abuse enabled by my parents. Meanwhile, my parents' social circle is shrinking. Their neighbors no longer stop to chat, and my mother's social media posts asking for prayers for her troubled daughters are met with silence or harsh criticism. My father's business associates have begun to distance themselves, concerned about his judgment after learning how he handled our family issues. Jessica's job prospects, which were already poor, have become virtually non-existent. In our community, word spreads quickly, and her violent outbursts are now widely known. She blames me for ruining her life, but more people are starting to recognize her threats for what they are. I'm still processing everything that has happened. My nose will heal, but watching my parents' carefully constructed facade crumble has been both satisfying and heartbreaking. They are facing the natural consequences of their actions, and no amount of manipulation will save them this time. I'll provide another update as I gather more information. Thank you to everyone for your encouragement. It has helped me stand firm, even when Jessica demanded the laptop. The repercussions were unpleasant, but sometimes things have to get worse before they can get better. Update number 3, thank you for your support on my previous updates. It's been a hectic few days, and I wanted to share some important developments. My healing is progressing well, the swelling in my nose has gone down, but the bruise looks worse. The doctor reassured me that there will be no permanent damage, which is a relief considering my upcoming work presentations. Living at my grandmother's house has become a permanent arrangement, and the contrast with my previous life is stark. This morning, I accidentally spilled a coffee mug and flinched, expecting screams and punishment. Instead, I received my grandmother's gentle concern and help in cleaning up. The community's response has been overwhelming. My mother's social media presence collapsed after a prayer request post about her troubled daughters backfired. Jessica's former classmates flooded the comments section with their own accounts of her bullying and violence. My father's business has taken a significant hit. Several long-term clients have left, and his partners held an emergency meeting to discuss his situation after discovering his role in enabling Jessica's behavior. They are particularly worried about his judgment in leadership positions. Since the restraining order, Jessica has been spiraling downward. She created fake profiles to harass me and my supporters but inadvertently posted from her main account, providing clear evidence of her harassment. It's surreal to witness the fallout from all of this. I'm grateful for the support I've received and the newfound clarity about my situation. I never thought I would find myself in this position, but I'm starting to feel a sense of empowerment. I'll keep you all updated as things progress. Thank you for being there for me during this challenging time. To provide additional evidence for the court case, my aunt made a shocking revelation. My parents had consistently refused to allow Jessica to receive psychological care when she was younger. They were more focused on maintaining their ideal family image than addressing the real issues at hand. Their attempts to regain control backfired spectacularly. A family dinner they organized to clear the air was only attended by 2 distant relatives. My mother's best friend publicly unfriended her after seeing the police report images, and my father was asked to step down from his church leadership position. Meanwhile, my mother's gardening group decided to continue without her. The most affirming moment came when my high school counselor reached out to apologize for not doing more when she recognized signs of abuse years ago. My parents had convinced her that my withdrawn behavior was just typical teenage rebellion and that Jessica's violent outbursts were merely artistic temperament.
My workplace has been incredibly supportive following Jessica's attempt to cause trouble. My manager implemented additional security measures, and my co-workers have been understanding of my situation. Yesterday, my uncle published a public post detailing years of disturbing behavior he had witnessed. His post went viral in our neighborhood, resulting in further social ramifications for my parents. Their reputation in the community has been shattered. My mother was ousted from the Homeowners Association board, and they can't go shopping without being met with whispers and glances. Jessica's victim narrative is failing. She had a meltdown at our aunt's church when someone mentioned my name, confirming what everyone had heard about her behavior. I'm still adjusting to living without constant fear. My grandmother enrolled me in therapy, which has helped me understand how unusual my home life was. Our lawyer's response to my parents' latest cease and desist letter regarding spreading falsehoods included police report images and witness statements. The support from this community has been tremendous. You all helped me realize that I wasn't insane for believing my situation was abnormal. I'll publish a final update once everything settles down, but for now, I'm focusing on healing and starting anew. It's incredible how much energy you have when you're not always walking on eggshells. Update number 4, it has been 6 months since my last update, and I believe it's finally time to close this chapter of my life. Thank you to everyone who has followed my journey and provided support. I'm currently thriving in my career, having recently received my first promotion for leading a successful project. My team leader praised my attention to detail and calm crisis management skills, which I honed while navigating my family's chaos for years. My personal life has changed completely. I've moved into my own place, but I still see my grandmother daily. On my first night in my new home, I realized I could put my belongings anywhere without fear of them being stolen or destroyed. Simple things, like having my own space and making decisions without worry, feel like invaluable gifts. Jessica was recently diagnosed with several mental health issues after being mandated to undergo evaluation as part of an anger management program. She is currently in a specialized treatment facility, not by choice, but as a condition of her probation following another violent incident that did not involve me. My parents have faced serious consequences as well. My father's firm encouraged him to retire early after major clients expressed concerns about his judgment. My mother has become a social outcast in their neighborhood. Their attempts to join a new religious congregation were thwarted when members from their previous church revealed their background. They are now selling their home and moving to another state for a fresh start, but their reputation precedes them. In various areas they've explored, the cold shoulders and whispered remarks became too much for them to bear. The most unexpected development has been the ripple effect among our extended family. My story inspired 2 cousins to speak out about their own experiences with family abuse. It's as if breaking the silence has allowed others to finally recognize their own struggles. Work has become my sanctuary. I just created a support system for new employees, and my manager praised my unique perspective on fostering friendly environments. The irony isn't lost on me that my past struggles have become a source of professional strength. My parents made one last attempt at reconciliation last month, sending a beautifully worded letter through their new lawyer suggesting family therapy. My grandmother's lawyer simply stated that all communication must go through legal channels and that I am not interested in reconciliation. The most rewarding change has been in my relationships with my extended family. Sunday dinners at my grandmother's house have become a cherished ritual filled with genuine laughter and joy. My aunts and uncles share stories from my childhood that my parents twisted or kept hidden, allowing me to reclaim some of my heritage. I began mentoring at a local youth center, working with teenagers from challenging home backgrounds. One girl recently told me that my story inspired her to come forward about her own sister's abuse. My grandmother has been my biggest supporter, showing me what true family love looks like: unconditional but with appropriate boundaries. Jessica's restraining order is now permanent, legally prohib.